Let me now review the Tools panel down here in the lower right-hand corner of the Premiere Pro CS3 interface. The Tools panel contains a number of tools for editing sequences in the Timeline panel. When you select a tool, the pointer changes shape according to the selection. For example, when you select the Razor tool here in the middle of the panel and then move the cursor over onto the timeline, notice that it changes into a picture of a little razor blade. Likewise, the Hand tool changes to an icon of a hand. The Zoom tool changes to a magnifying glass. However, the Selection tool icon right here may change to reflect the task currently being performed. So you'll notice that as I go through the various procedures in working with the timeline, this white arrow may change. In some cases, pressing a modifier key such as the Shift key as you use a tool changes its function and its icon changes accordingly. For example, the Track Selection tool here is a single horizontal arrow if I roll it over the timeline, but if I hold down the Shift key, it changes to a double arrow there, a double horizontal arrow. Its function changes as well, as the icon suggests here. I'm selecting both the audio and the video tracks. Taking my hand off the Shift key and clicking on the timeline, notice now I'm only selecting either the audio or the video track, but notice that it does select all the clips in that track. So that's the Track Selection tool. Next we have the Ripple Edit tool here. Use this tool to create ripple edits. I do this by placing my cursor right at the edit point between those, or that junction point between those two clips. A ripple edit trims a clip and shifts subsequent clips in the track by the amount you trim. Shortening a clip by ripple editing shifts all clips after the cut back in time. Conversely, extending a clip shifts the clips that follow the cut forward in time. So I'll be covering this technique in great detail later in this tutorial. Now I should point out at this point that the Selection tool is the default tool. It's used for everything other than specialized function. Now the program sometimes won't respond the same way that you'll see mine responding if your Selection tool is not selected here in the Tools panel. So if you're finding that things are not working quite correctly, check down here and make sure that your Selection tool is selected. It's highlighted like mine is here. Next, we get to the Rolling Edit tool. A rolling edit trims an adjacent out point and in point simultaneously and by the same number of frames. This effectively moves the edit point between clips, preserving other clips' positions in time and maintaining the total duration of the sequence. Notice that the total duration of the sequence isn't changing, so compare this to the Ripple Edit that I demonstrated with the Ripple Edit tool previously. Next we have the Rate Stretch tool. This simply changes the speed of a clip. Then we have the Razor tool. Use the Razor tool to split a clip into two clips or to cut across clips in several tracks at once. Next is the Slip tool. A slip edit shifts a clip's in and out points forward or backward by the same number of frames in a single action. By dragging with the Slip tool, you can change a clip's starting and ending frames without changing its duration or affecting the adjacent clips. You can see up here in my program monitor that my clips are changing there, which you see, but the actual length of the clip is not changing. Next is the Slide tool, this one here. A slide edit shifts a clip's time while trimming adjacent clips to compensate for the move. As you drag a clip left or right with the Slide tool, the out point of the preceding clip and the in point of the following clip are trimmed by the numbers of frames that you move the clip. The clip's in and out points, and hence its duration, remains unchanged. These are kind of subtle concepts if you've never used an editor like Premiere before, but I'll be covering these in great detail a little bit later in the tutorial. Next we have the Pen tool. use the pen tool to drag keyframe anchor points. Keyframes are used to set parameters for motion, effects, audio, and many properties of your clips, usually changing them over time to create animations. The hand tool is below that. This moves the clips on the timeline left and right into view. And lastly, we have the zoom tool. This moves into or out of the timeline, enabling you to see more or fewer details of your clips. Notice that I'm going into more detail and time there. I can also hold down the Alt key, notice, and the icon changes to a negative sign inside the magnifying glass. This is another example of how to use a modifier key to modify the behavior of these tools, and also, again, the icon of the tool will change to indicate to you or give you hints as to what's happening. This one's pretty clear. This is standard in many Adobe products. The plus sign means zoom in. Hold down the Alt key. Minus sign means zoom out. Let me now move on to the next movie and conclude this section of the tutorial on Premiere Pro's workspaces with a review on how to save the customized workspaces that you work with here in Premiere Pro CS3.